ใช่แต่ว่าตอนสรุปพี่มดสรุปอีกรอบเนาะผมก็จะ on behalf of India Study Center โอเคใคร
อาจารย์คะไม่มีแล้วไปก่อนโอ้ทีหลังเลยนี่
คนไทยหรือเปล่าเนี่ยไม่พกบัตรเนี่ยนี่
บัตรหายตัวบัตรหายตรงเนี้ย
ร้องเพลงชาติจบแต่ไม่ท่อง
อำนาจยูนุสเนี่ย นี่ไลฟ์แล้วใช่ไหม
เรียบร้อยแล้วครับ
สักแป๊บหนึงโอเค
Good afternoon, distinguished speaker, respected discussants, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Today is our ISC-UBU Roundtable discussions. Today is the eighth of our discussions. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. Today, I'm gonna be a mentor for these roundtable discussions. First of all, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Dr. Piyanat Soikam to have a welcome speech for this discussion. Please.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us at the 8th Roundtable discussion organized by India Studies Center at Ubon Ratchathani University. And today we deeply appreciate that Dr. Ammar Younas, our non-resident fellow, will give us an idea about AI. And I think now today we are also having some panelists and also some discussants to join. So the ISC-UBU Roundtable discussion we aim to provide a platform for scholars from both Southeast Asia and also South Asia as a platform that connecting the two regions in order to build academic network and also building a kind of platform of exchange knowledge and idea. So this time we honored to have Dr. Ammar Younas as our key speaker on the topic of AI. I wish this ISC-UBU Roundtable discussion a successful with a fruitful discussion, and I also looking forward to listen from your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Piyanat. Good afternoon again, everyone. On behalf of the India Studies Center, Ubon Ratchathani University, in partnership with the Faculty of Political Science, this is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 8th ISC-UBU Roundtable discussions. Thank you all for joining us today in this virtual forum. We are delighted to have a participant from different countries and institutions reflecting the truly international and interdisciplinary nature of discussions. First of all, I would like to explain a little bit. Today, roundtable discussion on AI governance beyond rules, India and Southeast Asia perspective. As artificial intelligence continue to influence governance, development and everyday life, it is increasingly important to move beyond purely technical or regulator approaches. This session invites us to reflect on ethical value, cultural context, relational governance, and policy innovations, particularly from the perspective of India and Southeast Asia. Before we begin, may I briefly mention on a few notes. This session will run from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Thailand time, and question and comment can be shared via the chat box, or you can open microphone and address during the discuss sessions. Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce our first distinguished speaker, Dr. Ammar Younas. He has a long bibliography. He's a lawyer, arbitrator, and interdisciplinary scholar specializing in AI governance, technology, law, and cross-cultural regulations. He also a founder and CEO of AI/MO Innovation Consultants, the founding partner of AI/MO Lawyer, and the founder of the Central Asia Tech Law. Also, he is listed as an arbitrator and moderator on multiple international arbitration panel, and he is advised government, courts, university, and private sector institution on AI regulations, digital governance, and cross-border legal issue. He has taught and lectured across Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, China, and Middle East, and is currently pursuing doctoral research on cross-cultural AI ethics and governance in Beijing. Today, Dr. Ammar Younas will deliver a presentation entitled From Rule-Based to Relationship-Based Southeast Asian Culture Contribute to Global AI Governance. Dr. Ammar Younas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and Ubon Ratchathani University for hosting me once again virtually this time. It is a great honor and privilege to participate in this roundtable conference, especially to the Indian Center, Professor Suikam, and you, Professor Bondiva, and I can see that Professor Siva Kaur is also there. So hope to see you all once again, even though virtually this time. So today I wanted to share some of the areas which I am exploring over the period of last couple of years. And recently I had my visit in Southeast Asia. I was in Cambodia. So after finishing my trip of Southeast Asia, I think that this is a perfect time to share some of the insights and some of the reviews which I could say that are very important for my own research as well. So that's why I have chosen this topic to present today, because there are experts from Southeast Asia, and also Indian Center may have some plans to carry on some research on AI ethics and governance in future, so providing some insights how we can work together and contribute towards the development of this science, which is called as AI ethics and governance science nowadays. So I will talk a little bit about the progression of technology, how far we have come in terms of manufacturing of technology, because with philosophy my background is in applied sciences as well. So a little bit about limitations of technology, like what technology can do and what technology cannot do. And then I will talk about the governance, like why governance is important and why the governance of AI has become very important. And then I will talk about Southeast Asia, how Southeast Asia is different from other regions, and how Southeast Asia can contribute towards the development of AI ethics and AI governance, and what global leaders can learn from the perspective which may come in future from Southeast Asia. And then we will conclude with some of the overviews and some of the ongoing research which I am doing. So if we talk about AI governance today, we usually talk about laws, regulations, and compliance, codified laws, but despite all these efforts, AI governance still feels inadequate. So there is a simple reason that AI is no longer a tool that waits for instructions. It interacts, adopts, influences, it is becoming very powerful, it reshapes the trust, often before any legal harm is visible. So AI is much more faster than the legal system or the governance mechanism can cope up. So this creates a governance gap. Law reacts after harm, and AI reshapes society before the harm occurs. So my argument today is not that the rules are important. Rules are important, laws are important. It is that the rule and laws alone are insufficient for governance of AI or adopting or agent-like or autonomous systems. We just don't need rules. Rules are inadequate. We need something more than the rules. To understand what's missing, I will take you outside the usual Western regulatory lens and I will bring to your own region, which is Southeast Asia, a region with long experience in governing dynamic living systems through relationships and not just enforcement. So my core claim is simple. That is the summary of the whole presentation or the conclusion I want to tell in advance, that effective AI governance requires rules as well as relationships. So rules are important, but for effective governance we need relationships as well. And Southeast Asia already demonstrates how this works in practice. So that's why I call it not rule-based governance but relationship-based governance. So why AI governance feels inadequate? As I mentioned earlier, that AI governance mainly focus on rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations they assume harms, and when we have a harm, then we make rules and regulations. But most AI governance frameworks assume harm is discrete and traceable, but AI's real impact is gradual. It shapes behaviors, it shapes trust and norms. By the time law intervenes, the social effects are already there. So you can see that now AI has become the part of our life, even the part of our body. When we wake up in the morning, the first thing we look for is our telephone. So similarly, the AI has its societal impact is already there, which cannot be neglected. So AI is no longer just a tool, it is a social presence. A little bit about the progression of AI. This might be philosophical, a little bit different from the technological progression. So initially we had the tools in the first industrial revolutions, machines came, digital systems, and the AI nowadays. So previously when we talk about tool, it is the extension of human labor, it was passive, automated, it became adoptive, and now it is more interactive. More and more systems embedded with AI are designed in a way to interact with the humans. And earlier technologies, they extended human power, but today we expect AI to become the part of our society. So this is not just the extension of human power, but becoming a quasi-member of our society. AI interact, learns and respond. And now when we talk about any machine, it is not just an instrumental tool, it is actually the quasi-member of our society. So the earlier technologies extended human power, and AI has extended our interaction, and this shift from passive tool to interactive system fundamentally changed the concept of governance, the governance which we must do. A little bit about how the software, the AI, you know that AI is now more and more anthropomorphic, but if you talk about softwares, and nowadays we know that you might have already heard about agentic AI, it is a buzzword. So last year it was generative AI, nowadays everyone is talking about agentic AI. Here we will see the progression of this agentic AI. I am not going deep into the technology part. You can see on the slides that it all started in 1950 when we started embedding these softwares. And later on today we can see that the AI has become more interactive, and agentic AI or agentic AI is the concept that in everything we are trying to embed an autonomous system. So you can imagine anything around you, it will have an AI system. This is called as agentic AI, means they will interact with each other. You can just imagine in future when there will be some sort of, let's say you don't have milk or you don't have vegetables in your refrigerator will automatically contact with the market, and the supermarket will send these things through the drones, and your door will automatically open, and these vegetables and milk will reach to the refrigerator. So this type of technology means embedding AI into everything is very simple word, agentic AI. So when we have all these sort of agentic AIs and AI generative technologies, why governance is so important? So ladies and gentlemen, governance has always been very important. We need governance of everything. At least the supervisory role of the human cannot be neglected. When system act autonomously, when the system start thinking by itself, governance cannot be an afterthought. We are no longer regulating product, we are governing behaviors, because these machines are developing their own behaviors. That's why the governance has become very important. This is my favorite slide. I share it almost in all of my lectures, and I really like it because it provides an overview where we are heading. So today we are standing at a point in history where we have achieved artificial narrow intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence means we have machines which can perform the individual human work at a much better speed, at a much better quality. The next benchmark which we want to achieve is the artificial general intelligence. Artificial general intelligence means that we will not need separate softwares or separate robots. We will have a single software and single robot which will be able to perform the human work at a much better speed, at a much better quality. And next benchmarks are human machine convergence, or human to or artificial superintelligence, and even space colonization. Billions of dollars are being invested by big conglomerates into the space, and we know that businessmen, they don't invest something into the space if there is no profitability. So they are investing billions of dollars into the space. It means that something is happening in the space. So these are some of the benchmarks which we can expect during this century. Now this is not just a sci-fi, this is actually happening in different part of the world, and different labs are working on it in different capacities. This hype cycle is more familiar to you. You might have seen it every year. There is a hype about the hype cycle. So the idea behind hype cycle is that when a technology comes, there is a hype. Hype means people start making speculations about this technology. For example, when the ChatGPT came, we had so many papers coming in.
I didn't understand that.
Talking about ChatGPT will replace the humans and so on. So there is a hype. And with the passage of time, this hype cycle settles down, which means that people start thinking about the limitations of technology. So now we know that what ChatGPT can do, what ChatGPT cannot do, so there is no more hype. Yes? So this hype shows that where the technology is going and what technology can do and what technology cannot do. The 2025 hype cycle mainly the hype was around these things which you can see on your screen. From financial sector, from social sector, banking has been interrupted. In applied sciences, there were a number of robots. You might have seen that they were very realistic and human-like. Different companies showed that. So we were about to achieve artificial general intelligence, and then they postponed. And different institutions are more and more conscious about autonomous decisions, especially the banking and healthcare. We have seen that a number of researches have emerged. In banking, for example, insurance and the loans and automated transactions, they are becoming more and more autonomous. If we talk about healthcare, you might see on and off there are researches like the robot can detect cancer, or the robot can predict some disease and so on, these sort of decision intelligence. So this is something which is happening in hype is all around it. But we will see after some time, we will understand what technology can do and what technology cannot do. So let's assume that we are heading towards this era where we will achieve artificial general intelligence and human too, which is no longer a sci-fi because the researchers are doing their work. So that's why the governance has become much more important. Now I am coming towards the law and the politics part, which is very much familiar to you. So why rule-based governance struggle? Why rule-based governance struggle? So the rule-based governance, I already told you that rule-based and when there are some sort of violations, we can clearly see that he is not following the law. In political science also there are a number of juries, and when we see the deviations, we can clearly show that there is a violation. So that's why the rule-based governance is very simple when you can predict through the prism of these theory or through the prism of these instruments. On the other side, AI produces different sort of biases. AI has different kind of influence on society. There are trust erosions without intent and often without illegalities. So AI interact in a way with the society that it takes a lot of time for humans to judge that something wrong is happening. So this is why purely rule-based governance keep falling behind. So in simple word, the problem is that law react after harms, but in the case of AI, the harm occurs before we respond to this harm, and most of the time it is unidentified. Okay, so that's why the rule-based governance is struggling, that it comes after the harms have already occurred. So what we did to investigate this, that what we can do to think about the harm. There is a big project on which we are working. We are mapping the AI ethic principles in real time. So you can go on this website and you can see we have mapped almost all the AI ethic principles coming from all the big companies, all the big nations. What are AI ethic principles? Those of you who are not familiar with that, AI ethic principles, in a very simple words, and for the sake of this presentation, I would say that what sort of morality or what sort of moral code we should install into the machine. So we should install a moral code in the machine, so when the machine makes an autonomous decision, it should correlate with the human thinking. Okay, so this is the idea behind AI ethic principles. We are mapping these AI ethic principles in real time. And we saw that there are different patterns. These patterns are mostly tilting toward rule-based governance. So when the companies manufacture these robots, they design a moral code to govern the machine, which is more towards rule-based governance. One reason can be that we don't have vocabulary, but my argument is that we haven't investigated the relationship or relative nature of regulating these types of moral codes. This is not only the problem. Here in this slide you can see that this is not just hypothesis, because at certain level scientists are already working on these things. Problem is not only between humans and artificial intelligence. In future we are expecting a number of other creatures, living and non-living or even semi-living. So there might be non-human animals, there might be human with augmented intelligence, human from natural evolution, digital humans, plants and digital plants, super intelligent, all of these things, they will be there. And they will be interacting among each other. So how many laws and rules we can make? It will be impossible for us to make so many laws and regulations and so many governance frameworks, because we are talking about beyond human kind of world, futuristic society. Number of species will emerge, number of governance mechanisms will be needed, and it will become practically very difficult for social scientists like me and you to govern all these species in different setups. So this is the point, that the rules, the laws are limited, and if we look into the futuristic society, we can see that it is going to be difficult to govern all these species only by making laws or only by establishing more and more political theories. Also, we can see that the governance is cultural. Governance is not just based on rules. The governance depends on how society understands what they govern. For example, in my country, there might be a number of things which we don't want to govern. In Thailand, there might be a number of things which you want to govern or you don't want to govern. So the governance is also cultural. It is very difficult to make a unified mechanism or global kind of UN sort of system to govern the technology. Yes, and I will explain in the next slide why it is difficult from a technical point of view as well. So objects can be controlled, but the autonomous agents, they cannot be controlled because they are highly influenced by the culture. They are highly contextualized by the mindset of the manufacturer. So power also cannot be managed through enforcement. Power can be balanced, power can be neutralized, power can be understood. So that's why I think that the governance is cultural, and different cultures have different perspective of governance, which has much to inform us in terms of governance of artificial intelligence. Now, for the sake of example, in this slide, you can see when we talk about artificial intelligence, manufacturing of artificial
ของแกหรือของเรา
มีไปแล้วฟีสไปแล้ว
อาจารย์
มาแล้วคิดว่า
อาจารย์
เน็
ต้อ
ต
ง
โม
เป็น
ง
ใช่ไหม
คิดว่าเน็ตโมง
intelligence as a tool. If we talk about Japan, Japan is very much, in on and off, we see that in Japan, number of individuals, they are marrying with holograms, they are marrying with robots. Japanese are using robots for religious purposes. In healthcare system, we have seen that they have integrated these robots very well for palliative cares, for taking care of old patients. So in Japan, we can say that robots are perceived as a partner, so they can become a quasi-member of society. And if we talk about USA or China or USA and many of the European countries, the AI is taken as a competitor enemy because maybe it is motivated by the sci-fi movies. In movies, always there is a robot which is very good, then it becomes enemy, and then you have to destroy this robot. So this type of mindset has created this element of competitiveness in their mindset. So the slide which I have shown you, which you are seeing like this, the point which I am trying to make that our perception about AI is different in different societies. We perceive technology differently, and it is highly influenced by our culture. Applied scientists, or the people who interact closely with the applied scientists like me, we on and off talk about these cultural relative elements to the manufacturers of the robot. The picture you can see, I took this in Bangkok during my last visit. And why culture is important for the future of development. The previous slide I showed you that and made this point clear. The understanding of cultural perception in AI is critical for its ethical and effective global deployment. The robot coming from Europe or USA will have this competitiveness kind of mindset embedded into that. Robot coming from Japan will have this partnership kind of mindset embedded into that. Robot coming from China has a tool kind of mindset embedded into that. So that's why the cultural element is very important. Future AI system needs to be designed with an awareness of cross-cultural ontologies to be truly inclusive and globally relevant. We cannot rely on single global AI governance framework, and we cannot say that the Japanese robots will act very well in Chinese societies or Chinese robots will act very well in a European society because they have been embedded with a mindset, which is coming directly from the mindset of the manufacturer. There is a strong correlation about this. So before societies create rules, they define relationship, and what we think something is determines how we govern it. Yes. So if AI is treated only as an object, the control will dominate, and if it is treated as an agent, the relationship will matter a lot. Okay. So the colleagues are saying that you cannot see the slides. So actually it is a theme. It is the theme of the presentation. Let me just
Okay.
let me
โอเคมันเป็นยั
let
งไง
me try to change it.
Yeah. Now it's
Let
okay.
me try to change the theme.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes they have like a black shade,
Yeah,
cover
I
your
don't know.
slide.
Can you see now?
Yeah, it's okay right now.
Has something changed?
Yes.
Yes. But I'm not sure when you play
And any of the colleague mentioned that if they can see the slides now.
Yeah, I can see right now.
Okay, so the design has changed, but the text is there. Okay, so we will just carry on with this theme. Okay, my apologies, I didn't know about the darkness. Okay, so some pictures will not be visible, but the text is there. Okay, so let's carry on with this. So South Asian governance traditions are built on coexistence and domination. Now I am talking about how the governance in Southeast Asia is different from the governance in other part of the world and how we can learn from South Asian experience. So Southeast Asian experience. When we talk about Southeast Asia, there are different traditions, there are indigenous systems, there are cultural elements which talk about coexistence and symbiosis. They don't talk about the dominance. And on and off we can quote many examples in which we have seen that the coexistence overcomes the rule-based governance. So responsibility it places total control. And this is not philosophy, it is not the complex systems were governed long before AI existed. So we can see that in Southeast Asia there are a number of examples. Some of them I will show later on that how the symbiosis and coexistence is happening, which is giving a challenge to the rule-based governance. So in Southeast Asia we can see that the governance is more relational in the sense that more compromise can be seen between different species and different socio-economic elements, and even between the technology and the human. I expect that it will be not more regulatory or enforcing, but it will be more relational. So if we talk about Southeast Asia, there are a number of examples from different countries of Southeast Asia where we have seen that rivers are considered as the living system. I know that your university, Ubon, Ratchathani, is also very emotional about Mekong River and organize a number of conferences on this point that rivers are living systems, so treat them with respect. Not only in Southeast Asia and Thailand, but in other countries also in Southeast Asia, rivers are respected. And animals are considered as moral participants, not only from the Buddhism or the Jainism, but from a more cultural point of view as well. There is a hierarchy in which animals are being respected with relation to their importance sometimes to the society. And the community is governed through harmony and continuity. Number of indigenous systems, they take this continuity and the harmony between the individuals and between the society very seriously. So powerful non-human forces are being governed relationally in Southeast Asia, and there are, you know about these more than me, how it is happening without any rules just because of the relations. So while relational governance is practical, not philosophical, the rule-based system works best for stable and predictable risk. Mostly in the Western societies, there is a process of due diligence before manufacturing of a robot. There are sandboxes in which they are checked, they are tested, and then they are brought into the society. But most of the time, these sandboxes they are also rule-based, so they don't give that outcome which is expected, and things go wrong. So static rules work for stable risks. In AI, risks are not stable. AI produces dynamic and context-specific risks, which is a problem. And adaptive systems require adaptive governance. That's why this governance, relational governance, is more practical. It is not philosophical. So adaptive systems require adaptive governance. If the technology comes in Thailand, it should adopt the Thai culture. If the Thai manufactures a technology and it is imported by USA, US system should see this technology in relation to the Thai system as well as US system. So this is how an effective governance can be done. So why Southeast Asia already ahead, or what Southeast Asia is doing differently? As I mentioned earlier, that there is a long history of governing different species and we have seen a number of examples. Two examples I will share later on, but you know that there are a number of examples where relationships are considered more powerful than making laws or governance or policy framework per se. So there are seasonal, ecological and social uncertainties in this region because environmentally it is very diverse, demographically it is very diverse, linguistically and religiously it is very diverse. So these relations are sometimes, most of the times, they are taken as a strategic advantage over making rule-based kind of mechanisms. So governance emphasizes on flexibilities, shared responsibilities and local mediation in Southeast Asian societies, and there are a number of techniques and instruments, practical instruments which are available already, which are being used by the government as well as local societies to govern many complex issues. The first case study, this is more close to you, and in Thailand also I saw that there are a number of concepts correlating strongly with that. The Indonesian case became famous because it was well documented. So, and you know that people like me who get their information from the literature. So the Indonesian case is well documented, where there is a concept of community forest governance. It's a very simple word. Those of the colleagues who are not from the region. So when we give authority to the local community to make decision about their locality. For example, when we give power to the people who are living in the forest to decide about the forest, they can manage that thing much better than if we make rules and regulations. So this is the idea, community forest governance. Yes. So in Indonesia, number of laws have been passed, and the legal recognition of indigenous communities as forest custodians. So indigenous communities living there, they are the custodian of the forest, and the outcome shows a positive impact on the forest because the forest is not something outside of their personality. This is the part of their society, and they have a right on the forest, so they treat forests very carefully, and the outcomes are positive. So the community custodian models in Southeast Asia, we can see shared responsibility over punishment. This is very common in many Southeast Asian countries, even in our country, especially in the criminal law system. Punishment is not only given by the police or by the state. Punishment is also given by the society sometimes. Yes. For example, if a young person disrespect his older uncle or any adult in the society or an old person, he also faces backlashes from the society. So he will not only face punishment from the police, but he will also face punishment from the society. So shared responsibility over punishment and conflict resolution through mediation. People don't like to go to the state, or people don't look into the laws. They want to resolve the issues of the local stages, very initial stages. And if with regard to the technologies, mediation is promoted, many issues with regard to the autonomy or the futuristic problems can be resolved just by giving confidence to the local community. And the long-term ecological sustainability. Very simple example, the YouTube and the cartoons, and the children should not watch cartoons from beyond a certain amount of time. So the parents are now becoming more and more conscious to take mobile from their kids when they think that they are watching too many cartoons. So similarly, at a much broader level, the long-term ecological sustainability, people are becoming more and more conscious, not only in Southeast Asia but beyond as well. So the governance through relationship and care is much more important and preferred over rule-based governance. And Southeast Asia has not many examples to quote. So this is the first case study I present. The second case study, this just came in my mind when I was there. So I was in this village in Cambodia, Tonle Sap Lake, and later on I found that there are a number of villages in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. These villages, they are highly contextualized in the sense that the weather or the environment impact on them a lot. So there are seasonal expansions and contraction of the lake. Water comes, when the water comes, they do fishing, they move on to their houses, they use these boats, and when the water goes back to the river, they start, the cultivating different crops and rice, and they have been doing this from previous couple of, I would say that 1,000 years, and their whole life is designed in a way to correlate in relation to the environment, I would say. So sustainability, the point of sustainability is that there are a number of things to learn from these people. When we talk about forest deforestation, when we talk about environmental impact, when we talk about flooding, when we talk about any environmental disaster, there are so many things to learn from these people who have been living in these environments from a couple of thousands of years. Okay, so that is very important, that how they manage to live in harmony with those conditions which we think as a threat. So that's why it is very important to use these manifestations in the futuristic society. For the sake of example, if I have to design an AI governance framework, or if I have to design an AI system, there are a number of parallels I can draw. So Tonle Sap Lake can be considered as an AI system, and there are unpredictable changes in the behavior of the lake, which are similar to the model behavior shift, what we call in AI. And there are seasonal variations in the lake, and there are contextual biases in the AI system. There are continuous adaptation of individuals and the lake as well towards the demographic or environmental changes. And similarly, in AI system, we may have a mechanism of continuous monitoring or reinforcement learning. And then there is a local coordination in the community which is staying there around the Tonle Sap Lake. And this is exactly the same concept what we call human in the loop governance in AI system, that there should be someone with the human level intelligence to monitor the activities of the AI system. The same governance logic, but different systems. It is just to adopt that mindset, or there are so many other things to learn from those societies which we can adopt in the futuristic societies to govern our AI systems. I think that this localized example is making the point very much clear, that how this adaptation or relational attitude toward the futuristic machines can be done. We did a small experiment with Thailand, and my internee Asan, who is also listening to us, he helped me to collect the data. So for the sake of experiment, what we did, we looked into the governmental documents related to AI policy and governance in Southeast Asian countries. And we looked into the language, what sort of language they are using. So we looked into some of the AI policy and governance documents which has already been established. And the results are very interesting. We looked into the Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. We found that there is vocabulary which is related to relations and relational words. So for the sake of understanding, I have given what are the rule-based words. When we say rule-based word, there are regulation, law, legal, compliance, enforcement, penalty, and control. These are the rule-based words. But there are number of official documents in Southeast Asia which use these words such as trust, responsibility, human-centric, harmony, ecosystem, collaboration, partnership, inclusive, shared. So these relational words we can see very often in documents generally, and even in very formal documents with regard to AI and policy which we have used, there are number of these words which are being used. So it means that the governance framework of these modern technologies such as AI is already introducing this relational model of governance, and which is coming from the Southeast Asia. So you can check the document, in the documents, people are talking about, I am talking about Western models like USA or even the European Union or even in China. There are words, regulation, law, legal, compliance, enforcement, punishment, control. And in Southeast Asia, we have these words that trust, responsibility, human-centric, harmony, collaboration, which is, very interesting because you cannot monetize these relational words, but they are still there because they are the part of the subconscious mindset of these individuals who draft these documents coming from the Southeast Asia.
เป็นเขาไม่เป็นไรอาจจะเน็ตเข้านั่นแหละเพราะอาจารย์เจี๊ยบยังหมุนอยู่หรือว่าเน็ตของเราเดี๋ยวมันก็กลับมา
ต้องมีเสียง
เน็ตผู้นำเสนอหลุดค่ะ
โอเคอ๋อที่ว่าอะไรเดี๋ยวเรา waiting for something that
Okay, maybe we wait a little bit for connection of the speaker. I hope he come back soon. หลุดเลยพอ come back soon หลุดเลย
AI เลยนะ
ของเขามาที่มดชวนคุยหน่อย
Okay, while we waiting for the speaker, maybe during this time. Okay, he come back.
โอเค
Okay, welcome back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, can hear you well. Okay,
I
please.
think something happened with internet.
Yeah, please continue your presentation.
Oh,
ดูว่าบ้างหลักไว้เดี๋ยว
let me. Can you see the slides?
yes
Yeah.
Okay, right now we can see now. Thanks.
Okay, so let's move on. What South Asia already does, South Asia is doing a number of things. I gave two of these examples. It has long history of governing the natural systems, and our argument is that this AI is also a kind of natural system. So in Southeast Asia, governance emphasizes on flexibility, shared responsibility, and local mediation. This is exactly what we can see is missing in the current global AI governance framework. How to bring these things into the governance of artificial intelligence, which we can learn from Southeast Asia. Yes. So why this matters for global AI governance? Southeast Asia is contributing by giving us number of examples that how the governance can be done through the flexible relationship. There is a coexistence logic between humans and other species, animals and rivers and the forests. And there is an adoptive oversight. With the passage of time, we have seen that number of species have emerged in Southeast Asia, and they very well regulated their society as well as their integration of these species into their society. So this is a governance advantage, not a cultural preferences. This is coming from the practical examples which Southeast Asia is contributing. What we are doing, couple of examples I am showing and then I will conclude it. What we are doing, we have a big project called Cultural Link. The idea is that to digitize all the cultural monuments available in the world. Southeast Asia has so many of them. Many people don't know about them because they are not available online. So the idea is that through this Cultural Link project, the idea is that we need to digitize or we need to record all these the cultural heritage or indigenous knowledge systems into the digitalized form so that people have more and more access towards them. UNESCO has 5 categories and 788 heritage sites. But only in China there are 10,565 heritage sites. I mean, when we talk about heritage, it is about it is not about the building. It is about the literature, dance, drama, fine art, pictures, everything. So you can see that UNESCO think that there are only 788, but only in one country there are more than 10,000. So people don't have information about the 10,000 cultural elements just because they are not available online. Yes. And similarly in Thailand, I am sure that there are a number of these things which are not familiar with the outside world simply because they are not available online. So this is one of the things which we are doing, that digitizing these things. The second thing, the symbiosis panorama by Professor, his idea is that we should see interaction not only between human and human and the government, but also we should see interaction between humans and other species. So you can see the interaction between humans and cats and humans and cockroaches and humans and the bees, and learn from them also. For example, you know that the honeybee has a comb, and in the comb there is a queen bee. So the queen bee regulates the whole honeycomb. So there is a governance system within the honeycomb, and there are so many things to learn from these animals also, yes, which is only possible when we will start recording them and look into their governance system, and if there are something which is beneficial for us or for the regulation of the futuristic society, we can learn. So this is the other thing which we are doing. The global efforts are also there. I am not saying that everything we are doing or everything Southeast Asia is doing. There are global efforts also. For example, Global Digital Compact has been introduced. You know that previously there was a Millennium Development Goal, and then there was Sustainable Development Goals, and nowadays, UN is talking about if UN stays, if they get funding. So the thing is that which is now a buzzword in relation to UN is the Global Digital Compact. So the Global Digital Compact is the regulation of AI technologies and providing a futuristic kind of document. How long it will take or how successful it will be, I am not sure. What colleagues can do, one of the efforts which Indian Center is doing, like contextualizing the Indian overview or introducing Indian knowledge into the Thailand. I also did a small effort in Central Asian AI Tech Law. You can check the website. The idea is that the laws and the regulations, policies, mechanisms should be contextualized with the Central Asian region. So when you import a technology, that you should not be making new laws. Laws should also be there. Policy should also be there. Governance framework should also be there. So technology should not disrupt the legal and political system. So scholars like you can also do in Thailand. They can look into the technology beforehand, and they can manufacture the laws, policies, and governance framework so that when the new technologies come, there wouldn't be any problem for the society to integrate them. So coming towards the conclusion, there are some core claims which I have made. First claim, I think, and you might be agree that AI governance cannot be copy-pasted. One country makes a governance framework and we copy-paste. This is not going to work. Context determines the effectiveness. We have seen in previous examples, and hybrid models, like in the example in Thailand, I showed that we looked into some documents and we calculated the number of the words. So the frequency of these words, which are relational, is very much close to the rule-based words. So there are words like trust, harmony, coexistence. So these types of hybrid models will work. And local governance experience is an asset. We need to learn from the experience of Thailand. We need to learn from the experience of Southeast Asia as a whole, because they have been governing many complex systems. So they have so many things to offer in future. What is happening right now? There are two things happening: humanization of machine and mechanization of humans. So machines are becoming more and more like humans, and humans are becoming more and more like machines. So the point where they are meeting requires a hybrid kind of governance, which is the relation-based governance, we cannot design futuristic society where only we have rule-based governance. We need futuristic society where these hybrid models will work, because if the machines are becoming humans, humans are also becoming machines. So that's why we need this hybrid model. So final takeaway is that AI governance is not only a legal problem, it is a system governance problem. First of all, AI requires adopted oversight, and rule-based logic is necessary but insufficient. It is not working properly, and relational governance improves resilience and trust. And we have a number of empirical examples in which relational governance has produced much more benefit than the rule-based governance. So finally, this is our philosophy which we propagate that is relevant to the futuristic society, what type of society we are expecting. Southeast Asia has so many things to tell us, which are very beneficial for this vision of futuristic society, which we call as AI-enabled sustainable symbiotic society. The idea is that we have started living in peace and harmony with humans. Previously, men were killing men for the sake of land, men were killing men for the sake of property, but now we have started living in peace and harmony with humans, or at least we know that what is right and what is wrong. Nobody cared about environment, nobody cared about forest, but now we have a number of people who are very vocal about vegetarianism, environmental rights, and sustainability. Similarly, we need to learn how to live in peace and harmony with artificial intelligence and futuristic technologies, because these technologies will be depending on us and we will be depending on them. That's why we should say more AI sustainable symbiotic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ammar Younas. Thank you for your insightful and thought-provoking presentations. Okay, so let's just move to the second one, Professor, Assistant Professor Dr. Pianat Soikam. He's our assistant to the President for Marketing. He will be like a discussion and maybe try to relate it AI in India or India's AI policy. Okay, Dr. Pianat, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Professor Buntiwa, and thank you, Dr. Ammar, for giving us the idea that quite impressive that combination between philosophy aspect and also like social science aspect with the modern technology. But as I am representing the India Studies Center, that's the reason why maybe I should speak on the topic that related to India, particularly with the AI policy. So actually I prepared this part of my discussion from the presentation that I joined with the Rangsit University, because I was asked by Rangsit University to give a talk on India science and technology policy, and I also added the aspect of India AI policy on that presentation as well. That's the reason why today I might giving some of my few takeaways that I learned from the India AI policy. First of all, I think we now cannot deny that India become the emerging power, especially in terms of technology. It's not just only technology, but in terms of economy, politics, and like geopolitics. India also trying to be as the front runner, and also in the aspect of technology, we can see so many Indian in global tech become a part of CEOs in various transnational companies. For example, with Microsoft, Twitter, Alphabet, and so on. And when we seeing in India, there also a big city, for example, Bangalore, that called the Silicon Valley of Asia, and Hyderabad, where I studied, where I did my master in Hyderabad, Telangana. Also the place called High Tech City. So these kind of the cities in India representing the way that India tried to become the leader in terms of information technology, digital technology. And we also seeing that in developing the fundamental or developing the societies and policy of India, India also having the series of the science and technology policies in India that regarding the development of science and technology. They're also having the science policy resolution in 1958 and then becoming the technology policy statement in 1983, in 2003, in 2013, and also 2020. But what triggered me about the recent India AI policy that announced by the government of India. So today I'm going to give the brief a kind of discussion that related to India AI in terms of how India see the AI and how India having the policy that underpin the importance of AI. And also it's not just only the importance of AI and how to we as we know that AI also have pros and cons, and how India having a regulation that control the using of AI. So the first aspect, the AI revolution in India is a part of the roadmap of India to become the developed country in 2047, to become a part of this Viksit Bharat in 2047. That's the reason why India is undergoing as a transformative AI revolution as a part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi vision to democratize AI assets. And also they try to develop the inclusive AI ecosystem and empowering students, startup and innovator. What India doing as a part of India AI vision and strategy? India just launched the India AI mission investment, more than 10,000 crore, with aims at building indigenous capabilities and becoming a global leadership. India government also try to build the infrastructure in terms of AI computer and semiconductor that giving the idea that India can having the indigenous GPU development in 3 to 5 years, and try to having the semiconductor fabs under the construction 5 places across India. And what India is going to do next is about having an open data and centers of excellence in some second-tier cities, and then try to focus the center of excellence in 3 aspects. The first, AI in health, AI in agriculture, and AI in smart cities, and also giving some financial support for having a center of excellence in education. And the government of India also focused more on the building the indigenous AI models and technology. For example, the Barajan, the Sawam, the Hanuman, or the Bashini, which the AI in try to like linking all Indian languages, and also like the ancient Indian language, so that what we work on the ancient text can be interpreted, can be helped by the AI. And also India also plan for the AI in digital public infrastructure. For example, having the voice-based chatbot and AI-powered DPI model for the some recognition. And currently, as we're sitting this month, India also hosting the global AI summit that try to like position India as one of the leading countries in terms of AI technology. Moreover, India also try to having a skill and talent development by added the AI curriculum into the university from undergrad to PhD. and try to having India AI data labs in second or third Thai cities, which affirms India's position as the ranked first globally in AI skill penetration by Stanford AI Index 2024. I think it's also the way that India try to push on the AI. And in terms of industry and growth and innovation, AI industry in India, they try to reach more than 28 billion by 2030 and generate more than 1 million AI jobs projected in this year, 2026. Moreover, they try to supporting Gen AI startup with the funding in this fiscal year. I think the last part that I'm going to talk is not just only giving only the positive direction, but as AI increasing in terms of using and having both pro and cons. That's the reason why the government of India also try to have the India revamped security architecture that help in terms of preventing the problem that might occur following this, and also as a platform to focusing on innovation for the safeguard of security of the digital or AI issue in India. So my conclusion, and also maybe we can open for the discussions, that India is emerging as a global AI powerhouse and try to democratizing AI, and also having a strategic focus on inclusion, infrastructure, and indigenous innovation. And the government of India also see the importance, emphasize the importance of AI as the tool to drive India economic, societal, and governance transformation. I think that would be my idea and my sharing in this AI aspect. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pianat, for your informative and comprehensive presentation about the AI of our India. Okay, to deepen our discussion, we are honored to have another discussion who will maybe offer reflection and critical insights on today's presentations. I would like to introduce Dr. Chaivut Gutpan. He's a prominent Thai scientist and lecturer specialized in fish taxonomy and fishery science in our fishery program, Department of Fishery, Faculty of Agriculture. And moreover, he is recognized for his extensive work on the biodiversity and ecology of fishes in the Mekong River Basin, includes fish taxonomy and also environmental DNA. Actually, he has a long list of specialized skill and field, but okay, I just give you a brief one. Okay, Dr. Chaivut, please give your view. The floor is yours.
ไฟขึ้นไหมคะ
ไม่ขึ้น
อันนี้ก็ได้ค่ะ
ขึ้นไหมฮัลโหลฮัลโหล
ไม่ได้ยินค่ะ
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Buntiwa. Today is so very important time for me to join this so interesting issue. I think AI governance is so very challenging for our human society, because of right now, for myself, I am look similar like the beginner of the AI user, because nowadays our daily life we always connect with AI in some part of our life, and also AI is so look like Dr. Pianat said, they have the bright side and also the dark side. Someone is use AI to do the control or regulate human society. It could be happen. I think beyond belonging to my academic background, I am biological side, but I think my expertise on taxonomy or identification and living thing, AI is very useful application of modern instrument to help people in the network. And also when we comparing between the AI innovation and the modern technique with the human neuron system that looks similar, like when we are childhood, we need to absorb many of things that new to understanding. But the AI in the modern time is so very fast developed for that. It linked to many of the data and network and also analyze the result. In the backside right now we have the problem of the scammer. Myself, I used to get the scammer call to my phone. It's so I'm very amazing because that scammer used the something like the accent dialogue. It's so unique with my relative, and also that scammer know many of personal informative data and also try to talk familiar with me. That means when we thinking about the AI governance is so very really important issue and also challenge to looking for what is the destination of our global. When we compare between South Asia and Southeast Asia, when I observe your presentation, I think in case of our Southeast Asian country, it looks similar like we had more, we are look like the absorb blend region to absorb many culture. We have thousands of years connect with India. We also have another thousands of years connect with China. And also we are the polyculture, indigenous people living in this region. That means we try to understand each other. We also develop something like harmony, living together. That means when we thinking about the daily life for the human society, it looks similar like India and South Asia in the modern time. It looks different, but in the reality, many of things is overlapping. I absorbed by myself when I have chance to visit India 2 years ago. When I been in Kolkata International Airport, many of the Indian people who living in the northeastern part of Indian country, in the 7 states in the northeastern part, they are recognized myself. I am the indigenous people because personally, external perspective, it looks similar like I think overall informative belonging to the Indian people in the airport. When they're looking to myself at that time, it looked like they have their own conclusion. Oh, we are the same, something like that. When we're thinking about the link between AI, I think we have someone who are the company or the AI creator looking for the profit for the user. That means we're looking for what is the fair bilateral side between the creator and the user. When we thinking about a network, like my routine work in terms of identification practice, Southeast Asian country, we started to learn about the textbook of biodiversity from the British scientists in old time in the British land in India. They created many of the textbook, and also we learned many of scientific name is created for the fish species. It not come from the Latin or Greek language. It's come from Hindi. Look like chaka chaka, chitala. So many of scientific name is relation with the Indian language. It looks similar, like we have many things is similarity, and we also have many things sharing in the future, included when we thinking about the international trading between both sides, Indian and South Asia. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shaiwood Gurpan, for your valuable comments and perspective. Okay, so maybe now I will open the floor for question and discussion from the participants or from on-site and online. I would like to invite you to share your question or your comment with chat box, or you can open the microphone and ask the questions or give the comments. Okay, just let me have one question, from my friend in my Facebook chat box. Would like to ask Dr. Ammar about. She asked about that. How can we make transitions or transfer from rule based to relationship based, to global AI governance? That is her questions, and how we can make that to be like concrete or policy or concrete phenomenon. Maybe could you explain or give explanations about this further? Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. And also I wanted to comment on the commentary of Professor Chaiwat, and he mentioned a very interesting thing from his own experience. And this was actually the point, that we don't need to have a transition from rule-based to relation-based governance. We need a hybrid model. What is happening right now? The relations are being ignored. For example, in the Professor Chaiwat's example, he faced a problem because his relations were misused or misquoted. And we applied scientists, we only care about cybersecurity, we only care about the legalities and penalties. We just completely ignore this non-tangible kind of thing, including relations. Yes. So the idea is that we shouldn't rely only on the strict legal, political, or even political science, theoretical vocabulary, or the instruments. We need to incorporate those things which comes from relations between humans. They are not being documented, they are just there, not only between humans and humans, but humans and our environment, and humans and other species. Because there are so many things which we have to learn. We have regulated them, we have governed them, And now there is a time to incorporate them into the documents, for example, for the sake of governing of artificial intelligence. So the idea is that we shouldn't just rely on the hardcore legal instruments, but we also need to incorporate these relation-based governance mechanisms and make a hybrid model to govern the futuristic society, because AI, as Professor was mentioning, that is becoming our friend or becoming inevitable in our day-to-day life. So it's mean that it is a kind of quasi-member of our society, a new species or something new in our environment. So it should be governed, not like an outside object for which you can make legal regulations or policy framework. It should be treated as something new in terms of its substance, as a new species, as an element in our environment, and there we can have this relation-based governance. We can recall them, because previously in our experience we have been very successful when something new came in our society. So this is the whole idea.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ammar. Sovyachit, okay. Could you please open your microphone? You can ask the question or make a comment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to welcome Dr. Ammar and Dr. Diana for such a communal, such a informative session. So I'm actually glad to be a part of this. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Soumya, and I'm a master's student from the Nalanda University back in India.
Okay.
And, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So I'm currently at Ubon Ratchathani University as an exchange student for this month, where I'm doing my research in new renewable tech. So my experience has been with AI, where I've developed my local LLM model. Because in India, like how Dr. Bianat said, that governance is not something that computers decide. It's what humans do. It's a very humane thing to do. So I would like to start by saying that I strongly agree with Dr. Ammar that governance is necessary for a more humane and moral framework for AI models. Because I've been a part of the UN Global Compact Network during the planning stage of the Digital Compact program, which was being internally piloted last year. So let me start with a very common situation that happens in India. So examine this situation. This is an example that, for example, a woman in a rural area goes to collect her food rations from the government incentivized store. She has the right documents, she is eligible, but the biometric scanner that they put in with the new AI system, that kind of fails. The AI system says no match. So here's my question. Who governs that AI system? Is it the law, the algorithm, or the local ration leader who decides whether to help any way? So this is where India's AI governance story really begins. So when we talk about AI governance globally, the conversation usually starts with the rules, regulation, and the ethic framework. But what I've noticed being on the ground in India is that AI governance often happens after the algorithm has already made a decision. In this case, where humans intervene to negotiate, override, or work around this technology. So from today's India's perspective, I just want to argue what's one thing. AI governance in India is less about control, but it's more about coordination. Like India is not cautiously testing AI, it's deploying AI at a large scale, especially in public AI, where the identity verification is done of over 1 billion people through AI, and there's AI-driven crop advices for farmers. We have these apps now and chatbots. So in theory, these rules should actually protect citizens, and in practice, relationship decides the outcome, not the system. So what I think is that in India, trust in AI is not built by law, it's built by the people. So whenever AI system fails in India, who actually fixes it? It's not the policymakers in Delhi, it's not the engineers in Bangalore. in ground level, it's the asha, the health workers, the school teacher, when there is misinformation given to the student, the agricultural extension officer, when the farmers are misinformed, and the NGO volunteers, when there is misinformation spread among the people. So these people who work on the ground level, they are not necessarily these AI documents, but I think they are the real AI governance. And help of them to set up the governance policy is going to be very vital for the upcoming policies that these countries set up. So that's what I think.
Okay, thank you so much, Somyati. He's an exchange student from Nalanda University. He's gonna stay with us for 1 month. Thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you.
Okay, we open the floor. Dr. Sherwood, Dr. Pianat, do you have any more comments or any idea?
Thank you, Professor Buntiwadi. I would like to just add on some aspect. Actually, it's not just from my experience about India, but about Thailand nowadays. I just surprised that last week at the university executive board, we are just passed the university AI policy. Yeah, just quite surprised why it happened and this still. But it's as far as I know, I have learned that it's also the concern from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science Research and Innovation, the government of Thailand, that they're afraid that the increasing influence of the AI, it's not just only help in terms of giving a chance for students to as a tool for their study, but what they face nowadays is that it's not just only students use it as a tool, but it's give the AI as a lead them as an idea. That will be some dangerous thing because we don't expect students to use in that way to lead. But as a student, we have to give our own, we have to understand our hard skill or the core aspect that we have to learn, and then use AI as a pathway or the navigator deep into the new direction, and we have to give it a good question. But the problem is that it's not be like that. The student use it as and use it and bring it and send it to professor or instructor. That's the reason why the government of Thailand, especially the Ministry of Higher Education, they use it as a framework and then asking the university to like formulate or like their institutional policy following that. And it's not just only for the for the student, but they also use the policy for the staffs, both academic staff and supporting staff, because at some point they use some institutional or university data and put it into the Gen AI, put all the data, maybe like financial data, and think that it will help like to make a good summary or good report or good analytics. But it's also happened that these data also put it in the big data via the AI, and this also some lack leaking of protection data that apart that what the university board just discussed regarding to the AI policy in the university in the campus. Also, I'm just sharing that maybe Professor Sivakon, I think you are in terms of AI, you are professor from education. Any update from the education side?
Dr. Sivakon, would you like to share or have any comment or idea or perspective?
For education people, yes, we support the use of AI in education, but to some extent, to use as like supporting learning, not to use AI for the whole process. That's what we think about. And for education concern, I think our young generation, we should teach them more about critical thinking. This, I mean, in all level of education. What else I should share?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Silvergong. Okay, we have the question from chat box from Mr. Ashans Shikander. Sorry if I misspelling your name. His question is in the future of global AI governance, should shape rules or should rules shape relationships? Why? Maybe this question for Dr. Ammar, please.
Well, first of all, he is my internee, so he's working on Thailand. And this is the philosophy part, a very tricky question. I think that in the beginning, relationships makes rules. So we come in interaction with anything. So human interact with anything around them, and then they set boundaries. So then the rules start. But I also think that when we are in relation and we have established rules, then these rules start shaping our relationship. This is also very important. So in the case of AI, I would say that it is happening quite opposite, that we are making rules to establish our relation with AI. But if we go the other way around, there is a threat. If we don't make rules and start a relationship with AI, it is dangerous. So I mean, it's quite a complicated situation. So in that scenario, I think that there should be the hybrid model, the convergence of both. So regardless of AI, I think the relationships makes rules and then the rules shape relationship. But in the case of AI, we need both. We should have some sort of rules and relationship together, and then we need to mature our rules to make our relationship more mature with AI. This is something which I can say. Yes. But this is a good question.
Yeah, I would like to add on at Dr. Ammar mentioned. I think it's quite like philosophical question. It's very good, and I think it's difficult to define whether it's a rule that leading to relationship or relationship leading to rule. But it's also dependent on the society that we are living in some society that kind of the leader, or it's not that exactly democratizing culture. So the way it might be a rule based first and then relationship, because the one who made a decision making process is something like with power, with authority. So they are able to draw the rule or regulation and put it and then let other following it, then make a relationship. But in some other society, that when law regulation process might be coming from listening to various aspects, and I think it would be different direction. Maybe I want to add on in this aspect.
Okay, maybe I share some perspective a little bit. I thank you so much, Dr. Ammar, Dr. Pianat, and for the one who asked the question. In my opinion, I agree with Dr. Ammar that we should have like a relationship based, you know, for like a AI governance. But in another way, perspective from Thailand, you know, because I think in Thailand we still quite have a lot of like a digital assessment in equal digital assessment and digital literacy, you know. So maybe if like this, maybe I can say that I quite agree with Dr. Pianat that maybe we need like rule based first before relationship based. Because as Dr. Shaiwood already mentioned about scammer in Thailand and also worldwide, you know, that we face the problem. And also, you know, I'm not sure in other country, but in Thailand, you know, because Thai bureaucracy is quite slow and retard, you know, to adapt it, you know, or change according to the new technology and AI development. Okay, this is my sharing. Thank you so much.
I completely agree with you, ma'am. The thing is that in India, also I noticed that deepfakes and identity theft are becoming so common nowadays, and especially since there are no laws to protect younger children. For example, US has launched a model that is integrated on Apple iPhones. That's called CSAM. So what CSAM does, it tries to protect children from messages that are non-compliant or insufficient. So it's something like that form, it automatically drops it on phones. So if something of that form is implemented around Asia, it's going to be really important. And at uni, what I've seen is that a lot of people just directly, without any checking, they just directly shoot out any kind of stuff that these AI models spit out. And I just believe, like what I wrote in the chat, that AI should be used like if you were to drive a car. AI could be the person right next to you on the driver's seat, giving you the guidance, showing you the path, but not give them the keys to the car for them to drive. Because they never know where that path might lead you. And it's usually end up with hallucinations, because that's very common with AI models, is that they hallucinate and make stuff up. So a proper governance and a proper check on the content that they're creating or making or sharing is really required. And I think that's the way we have to move it, main context of the movement.
I think, I think you all should also think about this thing. And the Thai people are very modest people. And people usually in Asia, they think that they are on the receiving end when there is a technology discussion. They think that we have nothing to offer. And this is because of their modesty, I would say. And I have shown a number of examples, but there are many more. That world has so much to learn from these places which have been ignored. And the solution might come from the mindset, because the people should make this mind that yes, they are not only at the receiving end, but they have to contribute towards the global AI governance discourse. Yes. And previously when I was in Ubon, Ratchathani, I showed that there are the LLMs, for example, like developing, we need data, and there is a big problem that data is now, there is scarcity of data, there is no more data available. So what we are doing reinforcement learning, or we are just relying on artificial data or from online forums. But there are so many things available in Southeast Asia which have not been digitized. You know, we cannot use them as a form of data just because they are not in digitized form. Yes. So the people from these part of the world, they should come forward and discuss with others that okay, if you have this problem, for example, data scarcity, we have abundance of data, indigenous knowledge, cultural knowledge, yes, You just need to help us in digitizing this. By this, you will get your data, and the Thai people or the Southeast Asian people, they will preserve this information in digitized form. Yes. So this is how they can. So I think that as the Professor Pontiva was saying, that policies and governance and these issues are there, and they are bureaucracy, they are everywhere. And scholars like you and us should contribute by raising our voice, by making these sort of conversations in mainstream, some conferences, seminars, symposiums, and even by writing papers to show not only to the Thai policymakers but the global policymakers that we have much more to offer. Yes.
I strongly agree with you, Mr.
Okay, thank you so much. I think right now, as we approach to the end of today's session, okay, maybe I think we just leave the question to the listener that in the future of global AI, okay, I have another one question, the same person. I have one last question. Could relationship-focused AI governance unintentionally allow favoritism, informal power, or weak accountability? Okay, maybe Dr. Ammar, could you please answer these questions? It's very,
looking for the Dr. Ammar.
yeah, it's very critical question.
You know, when it comes to the limitation of technologies, where there are many superstitions, technology cannot do this. At this time, when it comes to some of the bad things which comes from the relationship among humans, AI has not learned about these things. Yes, unless we teach this thing to them. But the favoritism or informal power or weak accountability, this might come when we will focus more on relation-based governance. Then there will be a competition, as Professor Soikam mentioned, that different societies have different approach to different issues. Then maybe in future, that will be a discussion that even if relationship-based, then which society's relations? So, for example, in some societies, people respect elders a lot to the level of God, but in some societies, they treat elders just as friends. So I think that this is very much in future, when people will agree, first of all, that relationship-focused AI governance is needed. People will start benefiting of them. Then someone will start thinking from the commercial point of view, how to make money out of it. And then he will start propagating that our society and our relationships have upper hand and other society. And this is a classic debate in cultural relativism, universality in cultural relativism. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, can I add on a little bit on that? I think as AI, it's not just only affect to each one country. So it's become a kind of like transnational issue that no matter you sit in some place, one place of the world, but it interconnected and it really affected. That's the reason why I think the aspect that the next few years, the next coming years, the global AI consensus or something that we need a kind of the communication between the global society. It's a must thing that we have to be, discussed. And yeah, I think the topic that Professor Dr. Ammar highlight today, I think it will be the next and the important issue that the world is going to be discussed in the field coming years. Thank you so much, Dr. Ammar.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very fruitful discussions, roundtable discussion today. Okay, so maybe I think, as I mentioned, that maybe we leave the question to the listener that to make a decision that in the future of a global AI governance should be a relationship shape rule or rule shape relationship. Maybe I will not make a conclusion here, just let the listener make their own decisions. Well, as we approach to the end of today's session, I would like to thank you, this distinguished speaker, respected discussants, colleagues, and participants. As we conclude the 8th ISC-UBU Roundtable discussion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who has contributed to the successful event. On behalf of India Study Center, Ubon Ratchathani University, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ammar Younas for his insightful presentation and very controversial issue for the future on the relationship-based approach to AI governance, and also Dr. Younas for his valuable and timely insight to India AI policy, and also we have to special thank to Dr. Gurpan. We get a perspective from fishery departments about AI, So today's discussion we have clearly shown that AI governance must go beyond rule and regulation to include ethics, values, and culture perspective, particularly, from maybe like a global culture. I am grateful to all participants for your active engagement and meaningful contributions. Finally, last but not least, I thank the organizing team for their dedication and support. With this, I officially close the session and look forward to welcoming you again at future activity of the Indian Studies Center. Thank you very much indeed for today. Thank you, Dr. Ammar. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Binat, and thank you, Dr. Shaywood Gurpan and team. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
บ๊ายบายสุดยอดที่หมดเป๊ะมาก
ออกเลย
ออกเลยค่ะ
เดี๋ยวยังไม่ไลฟ์สดยังไม่ปิดนะครับ อันนี้อาจารย์จะคุยกับคนที่อยู่ในห้อง
ไม่ต้อง
ไม่นะคะ